Hello, Brother Sewing and Crafting family. We have a fun show for you today. Again, the brand ambassadors are taking over the Brother Sews Facebook, YouTube, and the Brother Crafting. So here is our crafting day. I'm Angela Wolf.
I'm May Flaum.
And if you've never been here before, say hi, say where you're from. This week we are sewing aprons, embellishing aprons, you name it. This whole week is just so much fun, regardless if you're making one from scratch, repurposing one, or I don't know. There's going to be, I've seen so many photos already of what people are working on. So May, I know that you have some great embellishing ideas that you're going to share today, right?
I do. So what I'm going to share today is I'm going to talk to you guys just about how I add embellishments to my apron. So this could be an apron that you make. This could be an apron that you buy. You can purchase an apron already made, or maybe you have an apron or something that you want to add to. And then you want to embellish it and make it your own. And you can do it with sewing or without. So there's a lot of different ways to do it.
Everybody loves that. I haven't even, so I started my apron last night, and we actually have two more special guests joining us today. I have Reen, Wilcoxson, and Molly Madison down below. We're going to bring them up to say hi real quick. So I have my apron that I'm sewing from scratch, and I wash my fabric. I got my pattern taped together. I haven't cut it out yet because today was embellishing day. I figure I get one more day. So let me just, let's bring up our guests real quick just to say hi. Reen, are you ready? And here's Molly. Hi, Molly.
Hi.
Hi, and Reen. Hi, Reen.
Hi, May.
So, Molly, you have so many aprons that you already have finished. What are you going to be showing us today?
I want to give you a visual of what you have to work with when you're placing embellishment on your apron. And I'm going to show you some samples of what I've done in the past.
Excellent, which will give me some ideas because I'm going to sew mine. Actually, I'm going to sew mine live tomorrow. So I'm going to get it all cut out today, get the interfacing on it. But I want to see your embellishing ideas first because I might change my fabric colors around a little bit.
Okay.
Reen, I saw your your scissor case that you're going to be bringing us on Thursday. Let me show this real quick. This is super cute.
Different quilting, not different quilting, but it really stands out more in the gold color.
Yeah, I like the black and gold. Really cute. And that's going to be a free pattern that you guys can have on Thursday. So that'll be Thursday show. So in the meantime, why don't we start with May? And I'm going to let you girls go rest for a minute. And I'm going to have May come up here and let's see what you have planned for us. I can't wait.
So I'm focusing on the ScanNCut and what I can do with my ScanNCut. And there's a lot of things you can do. I have some samples. So I'll show you a couple. I'll show you a sample and then I'll show you kind of how I do it. And then I'll show you the rest of the samples. So like this is a sweater. It's not an apron, but you could do this. And I embroidered all these patches. And then I went on my ScanNCut and just cut around the patterns with the ScanNCut.
Oh, nice.
And then I just stitched them. One of them is ironed on and it worked okay, but I prefer to stitch them on. I think it's more reliable, especially with these are giant. I mean, look at my hand. That's a very big design there. So that's really fun to do if you have a machine with embroidery. If you can do that, that's a lot of fun. If you can't, or if you don't want to, or if you're trying to just get a pattern, then you can use heat transfer vinyl. Heat transfer vinyl is something I'm a really big fan of. In fact, I'll show you another. This is a big apron. This is a very.
Oh my goodness.
This is a whole thing that I did for demoing the ScanNCut, and all of those little cheetah spots that you see. That's all a flocked iron-on material that I took and put in my ScanNCut. I put a design in my ScanNCut. Cut all those little bits and pieces out, and then after they were all cut out, I ironed them onto my apron.
That's a lot. You put that on. I thought it was a dress.
I know it's a lot of apron. There's a lot of apron going on here, and then this is felt that I did a decal out of vinyl and ironed it on, and then tacked it all all on here. So this was a lot of experimenting this apron. This was a lot of learning, and I'm a really big fan, especially for embellishing. Go ahead and try the crazy idea, see what happens, and you learn from it. And you figure out, okay, well, this worked, this didn't, this is good, this I won't do again, or this I'll do again and again. So what I want to demonstrate to you guys real quick here today is how to do it. How would you, cut the pieces and go about it. So if you want to go show them my ScanNCut.
Great.
That I've got set up here. There's two different parts to this. The first part would be picking your design, and you could work with an SVG file. You could work with whatever you would like. I'm just going to go in, let's see here. I'm just going to go in and pick a built-in pattern. Who looks fun today? Let's see.
May I just
it's always who do I feel like cutting out? Who do I feel like cutting out today? Oh.
Christina says she's obsessed, by the way, with your coloring pens from last week.
Oh, you know what? Those are so much fun to play with. So now what I'm doing, what you see the machine doing, the ScanNCut has a built-in scanner, just like it says in its name. So I'm scanning in my material. I've got my heat transfer vinyl, and I have it the matte side up. So this is I call it the glue side. This is the side that has the iron-on adhesive. And then the shiny side is what you'll see. But the shiny side, if we pick at this here, so the shiny is not actually my vinyl at all. That's the transfer sheet. The vinyl is this part. So, and I show you that because we're going to want to cut the vinyl and not the shiny side. And then you can move your pattern, as you can see, so I can see where I am. And we're going to select cut. And this has an auto blade, which means it's going to detect the material depth and cut. And I have half cut turned on.
That's an important one. Half cut
is
turned
important. So what that means is it'll cut the material. And like I was just showing you the transfer sheet, it'll cut the material and not cut the transfer sheet. And when it's all done, this is a different design, but you can see what that does. When it's all done, it leaves you with your design on the transfer sheet ready to heat and press onto whatever you would like to put it onto. And this little cut that we're doing now is only going to take a second, but what I'm going to show you as soon as it's done, I've got a sheet of felt here.
Ooh.
And I have tearaway stabilizer. And if you notice right here, it's doubled up. That's because I do not like to waste stabilizer. It really irritates me when I have to throw it away. So what I end up doing is if I have like little chunks and scraps and things, I will use it, especially for felt, when I'm just trying to do, iron on or in this case, this is tearaway, but I just want something to stabilize my felt. I like to use that on here because then I'm not, wasting a big chunk. Okay, loud rip there. So this is our vinyl. And I won't weed the whole thing, but weeding is what you want to do. You want to remove all of the pieces that you're not going to adhere. So in other words, to get down to something like this where all you're left with is the pattern. And now we'll set down our felt. And I'm just going to cut a simple pattern. So there's a lot of different things you could do here. You could, let's see, I'll just cut that one because it's right there. And why not? And I can just look at my mat and see that as long as I center it, we should be good. But if you're not sure or you're not clear on if you, got where you needed to be, you could just scan it in. I love that feature. That way I always know that I'm cutting where I need to cut.
So May, everybody's saying that they hate wasting stabilizer too. And I'm gonna have to say I do too, because that's usually the most expensive part of the whole project.
Oh, it is. And it drives me nuts when I have to waste it. So I do. I save it for specifically for projects like this where it's not that I'm trying to, like embroider through it or something. I'm just trying to use it to stabilize something to cut. On the ScanNCut, I like to try to use it there. Okay, so once we're good, we're going to cut. And it has the auto blade, so it will detect the felt thickness, but this time we need to turn half cut off because we would like it to cut all the way through the felt. We don't want it to halfway cut the felt. But what I like about this, so I showed you guys while that cuts, I showed you guys this one that's a vinyl that I've heat set onto felt there. I'll show you another one. This one is a lot of fun too. The vinyl is so much fun. Here is, so this is a skull and crossbones in vinyl.
That's cool.
And then here, these are like little tarot cards there with different layered vinyl. So, I mean, your options get pretty endless. This particular apron was kind of a lot of work. We've got, and I'll just show you real quick here. So these are felt, and then they are embroidered with different frames. And then the heat transfer vinyl, and then they're stitched around the edges and put onto my base apron.
That's
and
really
then they're hard to see here, but there's some spooky ghosts on my pocket that are heat transfer vinyl. And then up top, I know, this is kind of like the ultimate wildly embellished apron. And then up top, we've got my skull and crossbones, and we've got different stitch here, and then rhinestones and more rhinestones on my ribbon. So this was no pattern. This is one of my favorite aprons because I went so wild with all the embellishing, but it is just a square of fabric. Or maybe it's a rectangle. I can't quite tell. But it's just a square of fabric. There's no thing, you know, it's very fancy as far as there's tons and tons of stitching going on all over it. There's a lace trim at the bottom, but it was just a square of fabric. So the pattern part, I kind of tend to do that with my projects where if I'm going to get really wild on one aspect, I try to keep something else simple so that I don't completely lose my mind there. Okay.
And I see a ton of your guys' questions rolling in about half blade. Don't worry, we'll talk about those when she's finished showing all this. So I see you.
You can see it cut out beautifully out of the felt.
Yeah.
And the stabilizer did two things for me. It helped it cut. Number one, it helped it cut nicely. But number two, it also made it so that my mat, that's a brand new mat. So that did not just get ruined by felt all over. And then this is just the tearaway. So I can just tear this, you know, when I'm ready to go, I can just tear this off. But I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to use the other one for our little finish up demo here. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. And it doesn't quite fit, and that is okay because I kind of had this vision of it going off the sides.
That looks really cool.
So what I'm going to do, and this is what I'll do if I want my design a little bigger than my surface, because this is iron on, we do not want that ironing on to anything else. So if there's any areas where I have heat transfer vinyl that's off the design, that's possibly because this is me talking here and I'm going to make a mess, then what I will do is I will trim those off so they can't get onto my nice felt mat or anything. And I have some fabric. I do. There we go. Okay. Then all we got to do is press it into place. And then this, I'm showing you guys this because I like the heat transfer vinyl and felt. I really like it for embellishing an apron. I'll put it on a pocket, or if it's a pre-made if it's a pre-made apron, I can also just directly apply the heat transfer vinyl. But I just think it's fun just to add the vinyl detail in different ways. All right, let's see here. Looks like we're good to go. Oop, not quite. So I will, if it's one little spot, sometimes I'll just forego the formality of my cloth and just get out the little spot, but there you go. So for all those examples that I did, I just heat transferred on, and then it's up to you how you adhere it. If you had used an iron-on backing on the felt, could you then, iron it on and then maybe tack it down with minimal stitches? You probably could, or you could have just ironed the vinyl onto an apron, an existing apron itself.
That looks fantastic.
I've done that before, where I've had a pre-made apron and I just had some fun design in vinyl and then just transfer it. One color, lots of colors, totally up to you. So, hey,
oh wait, you're coming back. I'm gonna hold on, I'm just gonna switch screens real quick for us.
Sure.
Here we are.
I'm right here.
How hot did you have your iron for that?
I have it on cotton.
Okay, and that's what I used to have mine on. And we did this yesterday. For those of you that watched yesterday, Emily was using the same thing, and a very hot iron. You need that hot iron.
And I press too. I don't just, I give it a good press because you really want that vinyl to get really adhered onto that fabric or material, whatever you're working.
Which is very similar to putting interfacing on a garment. You want to lift and hold the iron, give it a good pressing. Don't go like this. I mean, on the vinyl doesn't matter so much because you have plastic, but on the interfacing that we use for garments, you definitely can't go like that. And you use a hot heat to get it to secure. And someone had, you guys had a ton of great questions. What mat were you using there?
Standard mat. So if you're going to cut felt or anything with any weight to it, you want to do a standard mat. The designs that I used are all in the SDX 225. So yes, great. Everything that I used is in there. And you could, I showed you cutting out the felt and then I put vinyl. I showed you guys how I scanned it in. So this is from my sewing machine. I've got some little fishies here.
Oh, I just did towels out of that. Those are so cute. I love that.
I like these fishy. I saw them in the machine and I went, well, I haven't embroidered in a couple months. So I thought, okay, well, let's start with the little fishy. So I did these guys on felt with the tearaway stabilizer. I would leave the stabilizer on, and exactly the same what I did here, I can put this in my machine and cut around it. If I wanted to make an embroidered design that I then put onto my apron, that would be super easy too.
That would be very cute. I could totally see doing that. It's going on my boat.
And it doesn't have to be felt. It could be fabric too. I just find when I'm doing an apron, it's usually for craft demos or something, pretty hardy. And I find sometimes the felt is a better embellishment for me. It just kind of depends. I don't know how, it's just standard craft store felt. I don't know exactly what its measurement is.
There you go, Jen. And there was quite a few questions. Could you just explain a little bit, on the newer machines, we have the auto blade. And I saw some people in here say that they've cut their mats from older ScanNCuts that, you had to test it. The auto blade's different. It's been around for a couple years now. But do you want to explain just a little bit about that half cut? Because there was quite a few questions about that.
Sure. So the auto blade, what it's doing when it comes and it measures, it's determining what depth is your material. And then it'll cut. And if it determines that the material was too thick for one pass, it might recut 2 or 3 times. If you have an especially thick material, I can turn my iron off so I don't accidentally burn myself there. So it will determine the depth and cut and then cut again. It's doing the same thing when you're asking it to do a half cut. The difference is it's measuring and then it's going, okay, well, she's got, she doesn't want me to cut through the backing. So it eases off just slightly to make sure it doesn't cut all the way through. It's such a useful tool.
Definitely. It's my favorite. When they came out with that, I was like, whoa, I'm in. I had a little problem before. I had a few, I would always forget to do my test cut, which is such a bad thing to do. So I would always get in a hurry and I would say, oh, I forgot to do my test cut. And you know what happens if you don't.
Well, and based on how new your blade is, sometimes you need to go a little deeper or a little lighter. So that would also become kind of an issue for me because I would think, oh, we set it at 3, except that it's a brand new blade. So it should be set at a little less than 2, and then, oh, I cut through, I did it again, Oh yeah, I had my share of taped mats.
Definitely. Oh, Phyllis said she could do that embroidery. So, hey, May, should we see what Molly's doing on her apron?
Yes, I'm excited for new inspiration.
Okay, let's see what we have going on here. Oh, there's Molly's apron. So, Molly, what do you got? What is that? Oh, you have your apron laid out. We can all see it.
Right. I wanted to show you a few things about embellishing the Molly made apron. The space that you have to work with is about 8 inches tall by 7 inches wide. You really don't want to go any bigger than that because you'll run into your waistline or the top, or you have a 1/2 inch of side seams here you want to avoid. So you can really do it any size as long as you don't go bigger than 7 by 8. I suggested yesterday that you sew this piece on. This is piece I. You didn't really have to, but it helps me to look at it and see what it's going to look like where I should put my embellishment. So this morning I broke out my ScanNCut and I pulled up a design and I cut it out of glitter vinyl and I pressed it onto my apron.
Oh,
that's what I came up with.
Oh, I love that. That is so cute.
Thank you. So this is one example of what you could do. I did not stabilize it at all. I don't think you really need to if you're just going to use heat vinyl transfer or something like that. But if you're going to embroider, it's probably a good idea to stabilize. And I like to stabilize this entire piece, starting here, starting where I joins with this one and going all the way down to past the waistline, because I'm afraid that I'll have lines showing if I don't do that.
Hey, Molly,
Yes.
is that all one piece you cut, or are those separate pieces of lettering that you just pieced together?
It's all one piece.
Okay, very cool. I saw a couple people ask that.
Yeah, it's on the machine, on the ScanNCut.
It is?
I have the same one May was talking about, the SDX 225. It is in there.
I need to start going through some of those designs. First off, I didn't even realize that Paris was in there from yesterday.
Okay, so I wanted to show you some things I've done to embellish my aprons. Just to give you some ideas. My fabric is pretty busy here, so I wanted my my logo to show up. So I used an applique. My friend Rhonda actually designed this so that I could put it on the apron, and it's an oval shape. She also has another shape.
I like
don't
that.
have that. Thank you. I
Hey,
don't
May,
have
what you were going to do with kind of what you're talking about doing with the fish, like an applique like that, similar to that? Can you see it?
Are you asking May?
No, I was asking May.
I'm sorry. I'm so into it. I'm just absorbed into what's going on.
I'm looking at May, looking at the apron. And, hold on a second. That was so funny. I'm looking at May, looking at the apron, and I'm looking at the apron. I'm like, May, is that? Were you going to do an applique similar to that with those fish that you were talking about? Is that what you were referring to earlier?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I was like, I'm like taking notes and like paying attention and.
Yeah, we're just down here watching. Okay, Molly, keep going.
Okay, here's another one I did. This flower came from my friend Reen. She designed that one. So this is a 3D flower that has fabric, batting, and it's kind of a raggedy type look. And I really like that for this apron.
Oh,
And
I like those colors. That would be one of my fave.
Yeah, I really like that one. And then this is one I did a long time ago before I had my logo redone. But I used one of Reen's flowers again. It's the layered flower, and I embellished it with a sparkly diamond right in the middle. So I just wanted to show you some of the things that I've done with the aprons.
Very cute. I'm going to add Reen into this too. So Reen, that flower on there is really super cute.
Thank you.
May is still crafting up there.
I can't help it.
So Molly, we love that stuff. Do you want me to let you go so you can come back on camera?
Sure.
All right. Take you out for a second. So Reen, Reen, you look like you're sitting at a very long table with mountains of something. What's going on?
Since my phone was crackling and stuff, I went to my laptop real quick while I was off. So what I wanted to show for the apron is my apron is already all finished. Okay, so I can still go back and do some embellishing on it. Since my apron is busy up here, like Molly said, you can put an applique on your apron. And I just wanted to talk about how you can do an applique and while it's finished and still have the back look nice. So
I'm dying to hear this.
So my idea is and you could do it easily in my design center. Say you wanted to create an oval. Well, for an applique, you need a placement stitch, a tack down stitch, and then the final satin stitch. So you could create all those in my design center, create your running stitch oval, create your stitch to tack the fabric down, then create that satin stitch. And how you would stitch it is you would hoop your apron. I would probably float it, not actually hoop it, but put your placement, stitch your placement down, put your fabric down that you want, stitch your tack down to hold that fabric in place. Then you would stitch whatever design you wanted to put on your applique, your logo, another design, a name, whatever. After that's stitched, turn the hoop to the back side, put a piece of matching fabric here that would be right side up, then put it back in the hoop, restitch that tack down stitch again. That attaches the fabric onto the back side, covering all of your stitching.
Great idea, Reen.
Then just trim the fabric around that shape on the front and the back side of the hoop. Then load your bobbin with matching thread and do the satin stitch. And then all you're going to see on the back side is just a pretty satin stitch and matching thread.
Oh, that's going to look great. That's a good idea.
That was a good idea. And
go ahead. No, you're good. Helen said you're so smart.
So then the other idea I had was using vinyl again, but this time instead of putting something up on the bib, since my apron is pretty busy looking, I cut my site name out in vinyl, and I'm going to stick mine right here on the waistband.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And just put the, press it down with the iron and put it right there.
That's a good idea. You'll be able to see it really good there too. So we got vinyl, embroidery. I'm reading, why not just stitch as an applique patch and attach?
You could do a patch.
Oh, yeah.
Or some people don't know how to do a patch, so if you didn't know how to do it, you could still do an applique and cover up the back side. I do that on a lot of things too. Like if you're going to embroider a baby blanket and put something on there, I like the back side to be hidden. And that's kind of a way that I hide things on the back side.
Well, and that's why a lot of your in the hoop things look so cute. The inside looks as good as the outside. See, I think we got Molly here too. May's still crafting. So what are you working on, May?
I was going to cut my little fish out.
Oh, I want to see them. Can we watch?
Sure. Let me just.
We just had, that's right. I already took your phone off. Those fish, I just made those for a towel. And those fish would be really cute on an apron. It's interesting. When Wynn cleans fish, like when we go fishing and stuff like that, they always wear a leather or some form of plastic apron so they don't get gook all over their clothes. Not that it matters. They end up gooked up anyways. But this apron would be great. And somebody asked if this apron would fit a man. You could just adjust the size a little bit for whatever size person that you're using it for. But I could see definitely doing this for Wynn, and those fish need to go on there.
All right. So all I did, because you guys saw me cut the felt out, so all I did was just the same thing we did, where scan it so that I can know where my material is, and then ask it to cut, and we should be good to go. And I just made sure that I cut enough room around it so that it's going to be, just a nice little border.
It's so quiet.
It is so quiet.
Millie says, everybody's saying they're getting such good ideas.
Okay, so it's going to cut a second time. Remember I was saying the auto blade that there's only a certain amount that it can cut at a time. This must be a slightly thicker felt, because what it did was it said, nope, I'm sorry, I haven't cut all the way through, and it went and recut my circle. And I think we need one more time. Sometimes the auto blade is very good, but every once in a while with felt, sometimes it's a very, like all the fibers. This is kind of I like this particular felt when I go and do my embroidery, but then I go to cut it out and I go, oh, that's right. It's a little tougher than like the inexpensive craft felt that just cuts really smooth, it's a little more fibery. So what I'll do, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I just kind of looked and I saw that it had not yet cut all the way out. So I didn't move anything. I just look real gentle from the bottom. And if it isn't cut all the way out, then I go back in and cut. And because I haven't moved anything, we're just fine.
Oh, ta-da. Susan, design. Let me bring you up by your lonesome. Oh my gosh, I love it. Susan,
So now we've got it.
Embroidery machine.
Now we've got our little fishies are ready to go do whatever it is they need to do. And I am really famous because I'm not very experienced in embroidery. So I don't even think I've been doing it for a year yet. So with the machine. So what I'll do is if I do a design just for the practice and I'm not sure how I'm going to use it yet, I'll do the design, and then if I've done it on whether fabric or felt, if I'm not sure, I'll go to the ScanNCut and cut it out. So I actually have a little drawer of patches. Of little embroidered patches of different things that I can then use. I use them everywhere, from my scrapbook to this one's a little big, but a greeting card. You can put this on a greeting card with some temporary adhesive so that the person could then pull it off and do something with it. There's a lot of different things you can do with those.
That's a good idea. That's a very good idea. So Molly, I see one more apron next to you right there. Did we see that one yesterday? Because that's a very colorful one.
Yeah, this is the one we saw yesterday.
I like that one.
I didn't do anything to the bib because this apple fabric is so cute. I didn't want to cover it up.
It's very cute. Well, so do you guys have any questions for any of us? Because I think this was a great tutorial on how to do the ScanNCut, embellish with embroidery, all these things that you can add to the embroidery. And then if you're using Molly's pattern, she told you don't make it bigger than 7 by 8, right? Did I get that right?
Correct.
Hey, Molly, what is the seam allowance? Somebody had asked that, and I'm sure it's in your pattern, but what's the seam allowance when you're sewing your pattern together?
It's 1/2 inch unless otherwise noted. I think there's one area where it's different. So you just have to watch for that. And when we go through it, I'll make sure to say something.
Perfect. Everybody's saying thanks for the ideas. So yeah, if I make Win a matching apron, I can tell you right now, he's not going to wear it, but I'm going to, I'm going to try. Okay. There was a couple questions though about the SDX. I think, let me just scroll up here. I just saw 2 that I didn't bring up. I didn't want to interrupt somebody. Let me see if I can find it real quick. If I didn't answer your question, you can ask again and I'll see it. But
hi, Casey.
Oh yeah.
Hi,
Question.
Casey.
Do you have any pictures of the half apron that you have a pattern for? Do you have any of your half aprons out? Well, you could just use that, can't you? And just leave the top half off?
Yeah.
No. Well,
I mean, you could. Well, I don't know. It would hang below.
Reen has it. There's a half.
Basically, it looks like this.
Yeah, that's cute.
I don't
No,
have any with
that.
me. I can post some pictures.
Do that. So that's the big
Okay.
joke. I was joking with May when I got on here. You know, we're all at home. Everybody's at home still. Some of us are moving around yet. I'm still not. And I always joke that I always come in here with my workout clothes on and then put a cute sweater on. And one of these days I'm going to be like, no, you know, those commercials are so funny. But that apron would be great. Great source. So, all right. So tomorrow, what is the, oh wait, Molly, Arnell wants to know, did you say to interface the whole entire front of the apron?
I guess it just depends how thick your fabric is. If it's a thin fabric and it might show through, if you have just a partial stabilizer, I would do the whole thing.
Okay. Hey, Sandy, if you can get Win to model that apron for us, I'll let you know how that goes. Oh, goodness. Do you need a special mat or fabric blade for the 225? I like your emoji, by the way, Margie. What do you say, May? I say it comes with everything.
Yeah, it comes. I did actually, and it's so funny, and I lost it again. I found one of the fabric stabilizing sheets, and then I promptly lost it. And I know, now I know I have one. It's just, where is it? That can just help. To me, I only use that when I want to use the raw fabric and I don't want any stabilizer or anything on it. I just want the fabric to cut, then that's when I go to that. But otherwise, I just use the standard mat and the standard blade.
Yeah, that's me too. What about you two? Do you guys have any, do you guys use the fabric protection sheet, by the way, Reen and Molly, or do you usually have a backing on your fabric?
I don't use it. I either put a backing on it or I use the spray to starch it really, heavily and just cut it. And I haven't had a problem doing it that way.
And
Molly?
I haven't cut a lot of fabric with mine. When I did it, I used some kind of paper backing, but I can't remember what it was. It's been a while.
Okay. Make Quinn a butcher style apron. Well, that might work. He does all the cooking, so maybe that potentially. I'll keep you guys posted on that. I can't tell him this. He won't come walking in here anymore. He'll be hiding if I tell him that we're planning his. Oh, you guys are hilarious. Okay, there's a couple more good questions. Well, you guys are having really good questions now. Let's see. He says, is the high-tack fabric sheet reusable? Yes, it is. To a certain extent. I mean, I've used mine, the same one for as soon as it's not sticky anymore, then you got to change it. But I use it a lot. Do you need a backing if you cut cork?
I don't use a backing.
I don't either. I've cut a lot of cork and I never use a backing.
What about, May, do you work with cork a lot?
I don't do much with cork, but I don't think I've ever the only thing I ever had was I had and I'll just say it was a junky quality cork. So it was crumbly and I was intending to adhere it to something. So I just put and it wasn't cork fabric, it was just cork paper. So I put the double-sided adhesive sheet on it and cut it out with the adhesive sheet. The adhesive sheet added stabilization, but then it also, when I pulled it off, it already had the exact perfect adhesive on it for me to just adhere to my project that I was making. So that's the only time I can think of that I've put anything on cork.
Gotcha. Barbara's cutting her pattern while watching. All right, don't make any mistakes. All right, so you have the Brother Novus NQ1600 and you need design downloads. Well, one good spot to go is embroidery.com. And they have designs that will go right into your embroidery machine. So they're not very expensive either. You can just buy one design. You don't have to buy a whole set. And you can scroll through there. There's a ton of designs in there. Let's see. Just checking, I think. All right. This one's for you, Molly. Is only JA only cut 2 or all of J pieces? Is only JA only cut 2? You lost me on that one. I've got my little sheet right here.
Well, there's a J, A, B, C, and D. They all get taped together to be one piece, which is J. So you cut 2 of those, 2 J's, but the lining is a little taller than the main fabric.
Yeah, and I have mine over there. I don't know if my camera's on over there. No, it's not. But I am taping mine together, so I'll post a photo. And you've got a ton of photos, too. All right, I think that was all of Oh, thanks, guys. Everyone's saying great show. Well, everyone, this was a lot of fun. So the whole week, we're still going on with the apron. And let's see, tomorrow, we're actually sewing. I'm sewing from, what are we sewing tomorrow? I got to open my little thing. I mean, I'm sewing the apron, but we had this split up. So tomorrow is create a key loop, option to use vinyl or cork fabric, create the neck strap with hardware, create the waist strap, and create the waist tie strap. Oh, Molly, you're going to have me busy tomorrow. And then Thursday, we're doing the business card pocket, attach the binder strip to the lower pocket, and create the zipper hand pocket. Got it? That was a lot of Z's. And then Friday is the rest of the assembly. Joanne will be joining us on Friday as well. Thursday, though, Reen, you're going to be doing that cute scissor pouch. We got a full day every day. And if you want to watch the rest of these, by the way, you can always share them to your page or or come back here to Brother Sews. So Molly and Reen, thank you for joining May and I today. That was super fun seeing you. And I'm going to go work on my apron. Bye, you two.
Bye.
May, what are you going to be working on? Let's see. Next week is Tuesday of Memorial Day. What should we have as a theme next week? You have any ideas?
You know what? I was going to ask you after the show. What is our theme for next week?
Would you guys like to vote on this? Because
let's get some input
into this. So all the fans out there, tell us what you'd like us to show next week. So Monday, I'm going to be taking a little mini vacation. Not that I'm going anywhere, but I'm going to take the day off and hang out with Win. So, and you know what? I hope it doesn't rain. Maybe one day in the sun would be fantastic. But so there's going to be some It's So Easy reruns for you on Monday on the Brother Sews page. But Tuesday, you and I are launching off the week. Now, Thursday, Mr. Domestic's going to be on with my challenge for quilting. So I was trying to think of what could we do that would be summery. He gave me a challenge of a quilt block that I have to use on a garment, which I haven't finished yet. So that will be fitting into my schedule. So anything, do you ever use quilt blocks for anything, May?
I've done paper quilting.
Oh, should we do that next week?
Should I show you some how to use the quilt designs in paper? Because that can be a lot of fun.
I think that sounds like a great plan for next week. What do you guys think? Should next week be a quilting theme from A to Z? So Tuesday, May will show us on the ScanNCut. Wednesday, I have to sew together my project live with you. So then when Mr. Domestic shows up on Thursday, I look a little bit more. I've never quilted May ever. And I have to say that he's so fun to be on the show with, but his terminology and my terminology are totally different. I'm a garment sewer. He's a quilter. I didn't even know what he was talking about, even though we use the same feet, but I don't use them for the same thing. So everybody's saying, yes, yes, yes. Could you put the quilt block on a bag? I could, but I'm more challenged to do it on a garment. Everybody's saying yes. I think they're loving that idea. Although a lot of these are garment sewers, so don't worry. The quilt design can be used for a lot of things. So you use it for paper crafts. I haven't
done one in a while, but yeah, so sometimes what I'll do is sometimes I'll blend like maybe different materials of different papers and materials and make almost like, I would almost call it like an organized collage, because it's quilt, but it's kind of a collage because we'll use lots of different material or different patterns and put it together. So it kind of comes between a quilt and a collage when you put it on paper. So that would be fun.
That would be a lot of fun. Well, I think we just got our idea. See, we didn't even have to think about it. Everyone tells us what they want.
Oh, it's perfect. I know I was just looking and I know somebody had been asking about fabric or felt, but just seeing it cut with a stabilizer. How do I cut it with a stabilizer? And I got that worked in this week. So yeah, I'm going, we worked through our ideas. There's always more ideas though. There's always more things to do.
Absolutely. And yes, we're going to use designs that are built into the machine. It makes it a little bit more fun. Well, it is the Brothers Sewing Show. So we have to do that, right?
Well, I use, and I always tell people it's the exact same thing. The only difference is, and you know what, maybe I will pull one in. Actually, no, we've done that before, because if I scan and create my file, and then you go in to pull from either the USB or the machine, that's exactly the same if you had your own SVG file, if you had a file from Canvas Workspace, if you had some other design, that's exactly the same way that you'd pull it in.
Excellent. Well, I'm reading these comments as you're chatting, not chatting, we're chatting. As you're talking, I'm reading these comments. I think it's 100% approval rating for the quilting for next week. And Phyllis says, thank you to Brother Sews. So we are continuing these shows through the end of May. And then starting in June, the shows will drop to 2 days a week because many of us will be going back to work, or many of you are maybe, but we still, the shows are still going to be really fun with a lot of tutorials for you, just 2 days a week. That's all. I know you'll miss us the other 3, but that's all right. Well, May, I hope you have a great weekend. Happy Memorial Day, almost.
Thank you. You too, and to everybody. I think the big plan is, I've got one child recovering from her wisdom teeth removal. We finally got to get that done. Well, it was supposed to happen on spring break, but of course, during spring break was the most locked down. So then they tried to bump it earlier into March, but then they were needed as backup. The doctor and his staff went to backing up at the hospital. So not then. And then, so I've just been like, okay, whenever you just let me know. So then they just said a couple days ago, they called and said, okay, now. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. So it's going to be a mashed potatoes and applesauce kind of a weekend.
When did she have it done, by the way?
Oh, I think a couple days ago. So okay. I lose track of the days. So it was Friday then.
I still have photos from when I had mine out when I was, I think I just got into college. It was right before your insurance expires. Go get your wisdom teeth out. Okay, I did. And I had chicken noodle soup and one of them got infected. And I woke up the next day and my family still brings this photo out at Christmas. My whole face is like this big.
Oh.
So no chicken noodle soup. Those noodles have a way of sneaking in there.
Oh no, everything has been through the blender. Everything has gone through the blender. Even if it's pretty smooth, it's still going through the blender just to make sure it's like super smooth. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking, and my husband's a fire captain. I think he's going to end up working this weekend, so that's okay. It's all right. It's still going to be nice, and that just means more crafting time.
Yes, excellent. I got to figure out what to do with this quilt block. So. Well, May, thank you so much. The ScanNCut tutorials are awesome. Everybody loves them. And I can hardly wait to see you next week. So
I know we're going to have a lot of fun with this one. I'm excited.
I saw so many people talking about that they are still doing your tutorial from last week with the pens, which was really
good.
fun.
Well, that one's so much fun.
Patricia's keeping a journal. That's a good idea for all these shows too. And you can always come back to Brother Sews. If you go under their videos, you can binge watch. If you've missed some of these, we have like 2 months worth almost now. So, all right, everyone, have a great weekend. May, have a great weekend. See you later.
Thank you.